It's called the medium sketch. The medium sketch?
Welcome back to the Green Room with UKHH.com. I'm joined today by King Kashmere and Ghost once again. Today we're going to be talking about top UK hip-hop producers. Although technically this is not a top 10, it's more of a list of 10 UK hip-hop producers that we rate. Really, if anything, this video is a celebration of some of the talented hip-hop producers right here in the UK.
So put your guns away, okay? Do you know what I'm saying? If your name doesn't appear on the list, it's fine. Put your swords away, you know, put your flick knives, put your AR-15s away, okay? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We know that
Somebody invited me on this podcast and didn't put me in that list. All right, that's what I'm saying.
Well.
Don't worry, man. We got you.
Got you,
bro. Got you. But also, yeah, it's we know that your list is going to be different than ours. You know, let us know your feelings in the comments. Your top 10, your personal top 10 in the comments. Let us know. But this is ours, and you know, if we did this next week, it could be a different top 10. In fact, there's so many producers that we're talking about. We might even have to do a part 2 to this video.
I remember when KRS-One came to London one time, right? And he came to 279 show, actually, right? And then there was he was just rapping, obviously, and there was just one beat that was underneath him, yeah. And then like I remember him asking 279, like, hey, who did this beat? And it was like eventually got the name out of him that it was Mark B. And I was like, oh shit, because the beat was so dope. It was like a classic sort of mid-90s sort of like ambient, sort of like piano-y type of beat. You know what I'm saying? One of those type of beats that they have, you know what I mean? Like one of those choppy piano beats. But I'm trying to figure out whether that came first or whether it was the K-Borough Mud Family EP. Do you know what I'm saying? Because when that EP came out, that's changed the game for me, man. Quite honestly, like from doing graffiti and that, I already heard the name Mud Family already when I was doing stuff, right? But then eventually I heard Tales from the Itchy Side and stuff like that. But then when I really first bought one of their records was definitely the K-Borough thing, man. Do you know what I mean? So that had like Rich and Switch and don't know the half of it, you know, and all those kind of tunes there. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was just amazing production. Mark B is incredible, man. What do you think, Ghost, man?
The beat on We Are the Unknown. I mean, it's just like, ooh. I mean, you know, that transcended UK hip hop, right? Like that was a big tune. But there's one other track of his that I totally rated, and it was on some compilation, and it featured Task Force, and it was on like some graph compilation from like.
Bro, I know what tune you're talking about.
You know the one I'm talking about? That's a sick tune.
Yes, is it the one with the harps on it and shit?
Yeah.
You know what? I've been trying to find that tune because I can't find the name. I don't know the name of the tune. I've been trying to find it for time, especially for this.
Yeah. That's
if anyone knows the name of that tune, just put it in the comments, basically.
And I saw this compilation, and it featured a few people that I like from the West Coast, and then it had this track on there and with Task Force on. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, what is this? And I remember playing it and just being like, how come nobody knows about this tune?
Yeah, I swear that tune came out before New Mike Order.
I can literally hear it in my head. I just can't remember the name of it. But yeah, that's a banging tune though.
Like, I mean, you know, it's easy to forget that Mark B did that whole thing. Do you know what I mean? Groundbreaking album, in my opinion. Especially tunes like Graph Origines, that like was one of the first times that I heard a graffiti tune that I could directly relate to. Do you know what I'm saying? And the sound of it, the sound bed that he created for that was just, I was literally transported to certain missions that we won't talk about here. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, amazing work, that New Mike Order stuff there, man.
What I'm thinking when I think of Mark B is I'm thinking there was that kind of like early, that kind of renaissance of UK hip hop, that sound, and that probably came from that kind of like, you know, like that album, and that probably spawned a lot of what happened, you know, over those next kind of like 6-7 years of like,
yeah.
You know, UK hip hop sometimes.
Yeah, that was a real milestone, I think.
Definitely.
9!
What was the tune with Black Star? The dung dung hard margin. The dung dung dung. Wow. Like when I first heard it, I didn't know it was like British producers. I just heard the song. Do you know what I'm saying? To be fair, I had heard creators before, because the creators did a lot of work with Big Quam, who I was a big fan of. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's right. Yeah.
So I'd heard them before, but I feel like when they dropped the album, that was they'd reached a different level. I still love that Big Quam stuff to this day, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got these bits.
Verbalize. Yeah. Obviously there was the DJ Spinner remix of Verbalize, yeah. But I really, really loved the original creators one as well. That was hard as nails, man.
I remember when that came out and kind of like thinking, who are these guys? Like it seemed to come out of, and I'm sure they, like they were known and stuff. I just remember thinking like, yeah, it's all these like American artists, like, and it's a, like a UK production like team thing going on there. So yeah, like, that was definitely turned a lot of heads, because they had some really good features on there.
I thought it was amazing that they got all of those guys on that album. Do you know what I'm saying? Like at the time, that was just like mind blowing. But then as time goes on, you realize that because they're so connected in terms of like digging and stuff like that, that those kind of people that they got in there, it actually makes a lot of sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
The first time I heard his production was, do you remember the rapper called Rising Sun?
Yes.
Yeah, remember him? Yeah. He won some competition to do with Nas or something like that at some point.
Right. Yeah, I burst me on Major Look or something. Maybe.
Yeah, it was like that. It was that. Yeah, I think it was that. And then so his label, which I can't remember the name of at this precise moment, but they were having some event, and I swear it was at the Scala or something like that. And then Verb's group must have come on stage at some point. So it was Verb T, Harry, and Kid Fury's, is that his name? Kid Fury? And they did Ill Lyrical Behavior, right? And I remember that beat coming on, right? And even back then, I was an enthusiast of the SP1200 sound. And I was just like, whenever I'd hear that sort of aliasing, that sort of like that grain that would come from it. Fast forward, I'm trying to think now, what was the next thing? I think it would have been around the time of like It's All Live and all that kind of stuff. Was the time I was properly like, okay, Harry Love, like, you know what I'm saying? So, so it would have been like tunes like, It's All Live, all the Kalashnikov stuff like Paradise and all that, which I say like Paradise, man, that shit is crazy. Oh man, you got it right there. Woo! Amazing.
Had to go through the trunk, innit?
Yeah, man, amazing, man. I think I actually prefer Paradise over Murder. I know that sounds crazy, but man, that beat, the Paradise beat is so fat, man.
Harry just had a great sound. Like he knew how to flip samples the right way and make the drums just sound, like natural. Yeah, incredible producer. No question about it. Yeah.
Big up Harry Love, man.
Good shout, definitely.
7.
Technically not UK hip hop, but I look at Jeff Barrow definitely in the hip hop sphere. Do you know what I mean? And he's from he's from the UK, going from the Portishead stuff to the Quaker stuff. You know what I mean? It's just, this guy is just crazy. And like when I think about stuff that he's done, obviously it's a collective thing, but I look at him as the brain of that Portishead thing. But like, bro, like tunes like Biscuit, yeah, from Portishead, yeah, who for anyone out there that's not mad familiar, but they might be more familiar with their hip hop shit. If you listen to, there's an artist called Nine, who used to be called 9MM, do you know what I mean? And if you listen to his second album, which is Cloud 9, the intro samples Biscuit, right? And it's just so sick, do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you want to insert Biscuit right here. I always wanted to do that, sorry. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously they came through the whole time of like, the whole trip hop thing, you know what I'm saying? But I was just looking at it as like slow hip hop beats, man. Do you know what I mean? Like Yeah, tunes like Biscuit, tunes like Machine Gun, which not a lot of people talk about, but I rate that tune highly. Mr. Ons, you know, all that kind of stuff, man. Because you know, like everyone tried to say the trip hop thing was just like mad depressing and all this. Like, I wouldn't say that their shit was depressing. I'd say it was haunted. The word I'd use is haunted, man.
All the Portishead stuff, I think, you know, you do listen to it and you're like, this is a hip hop album, even if it's not a technically a hip hop album, but all the beats are just on point. And if you put a rapper on there, it would still work, right? And
Exactly.
I think the only other thing that I could add on, because you've really nailed it, is like bigger picture, like what that did again, like, you know, into like globally, that was a massive deal, right? Portishead were big, do you know? So total respect for coming out with an album, like you said, that sounded really like a hip hop album, right? Like beats, incredible beats, like soundscapes, incredible, right? Haunting, like you said, all of that stuff, and then making it a global album. I mean, who does that? That doesn't happen often. So, you know, you got to respect what they did there and what he did.
6.
I don't know if I've ever known anyone as prolific as Lee Scott. He just got like a really good ear, man, for stuff and for different styles as well, because he's got like the sort of like slow to mid-tempo stuff that you'd probably associate with him a lot, but then he's got all kinds of other styles that he messes with as well. Like you might hear some sort of like lo-fi trappy type of stuff. He's done a lot of beats for you know, Naito. Yeah, she's down with Blah as well, and she sort of like raps in like Swahili and shit. It's like super dope style, man. It's like like she'll mix it, like be like some of that, but then some of some English as well. You know what I mean? It's like ultra dope style, man. And there's a tune called, and I'm probably butchering this, but it's called Mafu. It's Mafu. Yeah, check that out. Incredible. Lee Scott, man. Lee Scott, visionary guy, man. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd hate to say that if he was from, you know, based in London if he was from London and had been kind of like doing that whole thing from London for all these years, you'd probably be thinking that he'd be a lot more, you know, like known than what he is. And that's a real shame about kind of the scene, the UK scene, not just UK hip hop, but just music in general. It's hard for people outside of the sort of like the capital to really like push through, you know.
5.
I first met Beat Butcher years and years and years ago. Actually, when he was living with Joel. Actually,
I think you were recording with him downstairs, and then you were recording upstairs with me.
Yeah. That was the thing, innit? First went into the house. Beat Butcher was right there. Go check him first. Have my ears destroyed by extra loud levels of music. Do you know what I'm saying? And then come upstairs and check y'all. Do you know what I'm saying? We was recording the Invisible Ink album around that time, right?
I think we were, I think we. Yeah, that's probably around that sort of time, and he was doing, I think he, you know, like when we were in that house, he probably would have recorded some stuff with Gets at that time.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. But I remember one thing that always sticks out about Beat Butcher is, again, how prolific the dude is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I remember when I first got a beat CD of Beat Butcher, there must have been about 40 beats on there, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? And actually, he was one of the first people that I'd seen messing with like synths that actually sounded good. So yeah, if you fast forward now, so if you look at the whole Griselda thing, obviously Beat Butcher's like done all kinds of shit, worked with flipping Jay-Z and Beyonce and Mobb Deep and, you know, you name it, got Grammys, all of that shit. But that, you know, you never would have clocked that back then, seeing him messing around with keyboards and this and that, right, would have led to him working with Griselda and that, right, and doing work on that album, right? Beat Butcher created a situation, right, where those Griselda cats who were known for sampling, right, like Derringer, known for sampling, he created a situation where they could make a sample-free album and it still sounded like a dope flipping, it still sounded like what Derringer would do normally. You know what I'm saying? Beat Butcher provided that situation with his sound design, man. If people out there were clocking it like that, but I was like, yo, you've done something here. Like, even if he didn't directly like program everything on the album, you know, I'd still bring that up in terms of Beat Butcher, because that is a monumental thing that he done there, in my opinion.
I think he's very versatile, actually, and I think he's been able to cover a lot of ground, you know, musically. If you're just covering the same ground, say like Premier did a lot of the time, he had a sound and he covered that sound the whole time, which is great. But at the same time, I personally, I think it's better to have a whole, you know, like to have different strings to your bow.
Yeah.
And Butcher definitely is able to like hit different genres and still smash it, you know, with his composing stuff as well as his own beats.
And you know what, as well, to add to that about him as a person as well, is the sort of bravery of just packing his bags and heading over stateside to actually, you know, just pursue his shit. You know what I mean? Shout out to him for having all of that self-belief, and look, it paid off, man.
4.
With UK hip hop, you know what I'm saying, there was a lot of good stuff from the beginning, do you know what I mean? But when I started hearing people like Lewis Parker, you know, that was like some styles that sounded more akin to like the American stuff that I was really into as well. At the time, it was very an interesting feeling to hear a dude from here coming with those styles so in such a legit manner, do you know what I'm saying? 279 was really championing Lewis Parker at that time as well. He's another one of these guys that's like, you know, is really into digging, and you can hear it as well because, like, you know, he's got that ear, you know what I mean, and he's like, you know, picking out gems and stuff. But also because you know, there's a lot of people that dig, right? But then you know, you hear the beats and you're like, well, where's all the records at? You know what I mean? Where's the stuff he was collecting? You know what I mean? But like with him, he's definitely uses that shit, and you know, it's very very interesting, very inspiring music. You know, when it really took hold for me is when I heard Rise, right? You know, that was amazing. Like it's sort of like choiry sort of sunrise, sunset, you know, that when they were singing that, the way that came in, and then the pianos came in after that, and you're just thinking, wow, like it's kind of just like, it's like sort of dreamy in a way, and then like the flipping dusty drums coming underneath, and you're like, you know what I mean? Really dug that, man. Really loved how he used to use a lot of the sort of like the easy listening stuff, but in such a good way. And I was lucky enough to actually go down to his studio. Was it last year? And he was playing me a lot of music, man. And one thing that really struck me is that like his arrangements are really mad. Like, do you know what I mean? Like full arrangements. He was showing me stuff. You know, it definitely wasn't like verse, chorus, man. There was a lot of stuff going on in there, man. Do you know what I mean? And you know, obviously he doesn't program using a DAW. He's doorless, basically. So I'm like, the sort of like intricacies of the arrangements that he was showing me, but he was doing it purely on the machines. Like that to me is like, yo, like that's some skills right there, man. And like, and also patience and perseverance, man, to just purely do it on the machines. Like, do you know what I mean? On that level. Big up Lewis Parker, man.
Definitely. Yeah, good shout.
3.
All I have to say is Universal Soldiers. That's it. Bye. See ya. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy is like, you know, that whole album, man, legendary album for anyone that knows, man. AH Fly, man, so sick. You know what I'm saying? You guys got any thoughts on Dude?
It's a name that you've pulled out, isn't it? That one there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I just kind of think back to the pirate radio and the playing tracks from that Universal Soldiers album on the radio, and just, you know, the phones would be lively, do you know? So, and you know, that's a good song when the phones are lively. Yeah, it's a really, really good album, and the production really just kind of helped sell the album, do you know? Like I always say, you know, like you can have bad rappers on good production, but having good rappers on bad production is just not the same. It doesn't quite sell it. So you know,
yeah.
but he, you know, like he really, you know, they suited what he gave them. Like they suited that, and it was a beautiful kind of like soundtrack for that sound and that time.
Yeah, actually done something with Lee Scott recently that was dread. You know what I mean? I was like, this is sick. You know what I mean? So yeah, here it is, right here. Yeah, your editing guy is gonna love me, man. But yeah, like A.H. Fly, and he's an interesting character because you don't really like hear from him. Like he's not like over there going, yo, this is me. Do you know what I mean? He's just like quietly making sick fucking tunes, like, do you know what I'm saying? Which I really rate, man. So it's definitely an interesting character, man. And yeah, man, just like, you know, I just like advise everyone to keep an eye out for that dude because he's like really, really sick. Do you know what I mean? Shout out to H Fly, man. You know what I mean?
2.
When I was doing the album In an Hour of Chaos, right, I started it with Jest and LG. You know, these are some names that we could probably, you know, use in the next ones, you know what I'm saying? But then I think when I was talking to Verb T and he was like, yo, there's this dude, Chemo, do you know what I'm saying? He's got a dope studio, you should go around there, blah, blah, blah. And this is the times when he was living in Streatham, I think. But anyway, he gave me some beats anyway. And after I met him, I think, and then I was just like, yo, this guy is like, because obviously he's a mix engineer as well. And it just sounded super banging as well. I was like, oh, this is coming out of left. As an engineer, this guy is crazy. For my album In the Hour of Chaos, I recorded Playing with Fire with him, right? And I remember recording it, right, at his house, right? Getting on the train afterwards, yeah? And by the time I got out of the train station in Northwest London, he belled me and was like, yeah, I've finished, I've mixed it. I was like, hello? Do you know what I'm saying? Where am I? Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, guy's incredibly talented. And you know what you're saying about versatility, Ghost, yeah? Like Chemo is like ultra diverse, man. He'll do like, you know, a Mobb Deep style hip hop thing today, tomorrow be on some like eclectic world music shit or something. Do you know what I'm saying? The next day he'll do some reggae shit. The next day he'll do something that doesn't sound like anything. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's incredible, man. That guy. It's almost like he knows exactly what to do straight away. You know what I mean? And just does it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no messing about. Like, he just does it. Another aspect of his producing, which isn't physically programming, is his actual producing. Do you know what I mean? Like, he will have an artist in, right? And, you know, guide them. You know what I'm saying? He might be like, oh, yeah, you know, that little bit, you might want to redo that, or you might want to like adjust your tone here, or sometimes even coaching people on how long 16 bars is, or something like that. You know, the real role of a producer. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's definitely all up on that, like, you know. So obviously he's called Forrest DLG now, but like before he was called Telemachus Malone, and like he had tunes like the boy who thought he could fly. Do you know what I'm saying? Dead Weight. You know what I'm saying? Like Dead Weight Bliss. I mean, you know, the guy's just talented forever, man. So yeah, shout out Forrest DLG. You know what I mean?
1.
Leaf Dog is a definitely a great example of someone who truly believes in a sound, right, and will follow that sound to the ends of the flipping universe. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because, you know, a lot of the time, you know, in the sort of like boom bap sort of field, you know, there's a lot of people that are like, yo, you need to change up your style, you know, and hey, listen, there's a lot to be said for that, but there's also a lot to be said for people who really stick to their guns as well. Do you know what I'm saying? And like Leaf is one of those people. I mean, bear in mind, Leaf has worked with people like Razcast, you know, Cool G Rap, MOP, you know, Keith Murray, you know, all of these people, like, you know what I mean? You know, he's also a person that sort of like exemplifies a sort of like low budget approach to stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I'm sure the story is famous right now. about like the sort of like the first 4 Hours album. Like he literally produced that album on a laptop, a broken laptop that was retrieved from a skip. Do you know what I'm saying? With that sound, you know, they achieved things that not many people in UK hip hop are able to achieve. Do you know what I mean? Like they've literally been around the world with that sound. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people talk about the stuff that they did with DJ Premier, but you have to understand also that DJ Premier wanted to work with them because of the stuff that he had heard and played on his show already. So it's kind of like, for all those guys out there that are like, well, I haven't got an SP404, so I can't make this, or I haven't got this, so I can't make that. It's like, listen, you know what I mean? There's literally no excuses. This guy came out, made a classic with broken equipment. He's another person that, you know, his hard drives must look crazy. You know what I mean? The amount of stuff that's in there, you know? Like on the Owls thing, I think my favorite thing is probably not Like Before. You know, that beat is crazy. I remember when I first heard that, actually. I heard it when Flip Tricks was living in Camberwell, and you know, went around there and he was like, yo, check this out. And it just literally, I heard it when it was just Flip Tricks' verse. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, yo, this is flipping insane. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it turned out to be my favorite joint of theirs. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, shout out Leaf Dog, man. Do you know what I mean? He's probably working on about 10 beats as we're speaking right now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Probably finished 10 just as we've been.
Exactly. You know what I mean? He probably did a whole album last night. You know what I
And
mean?
you're right. I think any time someone's able to do what he's done, you know, you got to respect that. You know, like not an easy thing to do. He's got a lot of good artists involved and all that sort of thing. So yeah, that's testament to what he's done. So yeah, big shout out.
But yeah, I mean, he's an all-rounder, isn't he? Producer,
Yeah.
rapper, like everything. So yeah, he's got a lot of stuff up his sleeve, man. So yeah, all credit due. So look, thanks everyone for joining us. What's coming up next? Possibly another top 10 UK hip hop producers. There was too many to mention within this single video, or possibly another top 10. If you've got any other ideas for other top 10s you would like to see here on the channel, let us know in the comments, or any talking points, or let us know your top 10. Who would your top 10 UK hip hop producers be? Let us know. And yeah, we'll be talking a lot more in the green room with UKHH.com. But thanks for locking in. Thanks for tuning.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
He said it.